My name is Peter Cox. I'm president of ICOMOS International Scientific Committee on Energy, Sustainability and Climate Change. I'm also an active member of ICOMOS Ireland. My company, which is a private company, Carrick Conservation International, is a leading materials analysis and in heritage buildings. The International Scientific Committee on Energy, Sustainability and Climate Change grew out of a meeting in Dublin held, which was the ADCOM meeting of 2010. And it was just after the European Union had introduced low energy directives. And our concerns were that this might have a negative effect on heritage buildings, older buildings, and particularly traditional buildings. So we formed a work group and we presented reports at a Paris meeting, and then we presented the International Scientific Committee at the Beijing meeting in 2013. And it was ratified by the board. And effectively, the three main goals of the ISCES plus CC is energy efficiency in traditional and heritage buildings, climate change and its effect on heritage, and promoting low carbon solutions for our existing traditional and heritage buildings. And it's really, we're getting down now to mostly promoting carbon, or at least recognizing carbon. All legislation to date called NZEB or near zero energy buildings, etc., are really concentrating on operational carbon. Whereas we feel the real fight and the most important part is actually the embodied carbon in our built heritage. We're very involved in international research, and we're working with the Fraunhofer Institute of Building Physics in Germany, and they have a live laboratory, which is a wing of an 18th century monastery in Benediktbeuern in Germany. And we've converted about 12 rooms into a live laboratory. We've installed different external insulations, internal insulations, floor insulations, attic insulations, windows, doors, heating systems. So we're monitoring this on an ongoing basis, and we hope that this will become a learning center, but also maybe a visitor center where people can go and actually learn about new technology and green technology within our existing and built environment. We also had a member of ICOMOS International Scientific Committee represent us on a study which was a European Standards Committee, or Central Standards Committee of Europe, and this was on promoting best practice for the deep energy retrofit of heritage buildings. We were also a member of an international European funded research program under Horizon 2020, and this was called Adapt Northern Heritage, which has just released its findings and its final report. And then, as my company was commissioned by Historic England to look at understanding carbon in the built environment, and that was published late last year and became part of the UK's policy now on heritage counts. My company, with the Irish Heritage Council, also ran a pilot training program late last year, early this year, on deep energy retrofit of traditional and heritage buildings, mainly to professionals, but it did include some contractors and particularly some state parties for policies. And it was a huge success and very oversubscribed. And we hope again to run that on an ongoing basis, as that was a pilot scheme. I suppose retaining and the adaptive reuse of buildings is essential to nations across the world meeting their carbon reduction targets set by the Paris Agreement. Often heritage has a perception of being difficult and costly. We now must look beyond that and promote and encourage low carbon solutions, not only to traditional heritage buildings, but to all construction sectors, and particularly if you're adding new extensions to existing buildings. Maladaptation is a prime challenge because we don't have the knowledge generally on how to retrofit or what products to use or what systems to use. So in the rush to promote energy efficiency in our older traditional and heritage buildings, we are making mistakes by introducing non-breathable insulations, overheating and overcooling our buildings. And this has a major knock-on effect on historic fabric, which will accelerate the decay mechanisms that are within that. And it enables trapped moisture to stay within the fabric of the building and not be released like traditional materials. And these mechanisms will have a detrimental effect on our older buildings. And this in turn will also affect the health of occupants by mold growth and condensation, etc., happening within our buildings if we are not careful. It will not help to meet our carbon reduction targets either, because we are introducing carbon intensive materials instead of using traditional low carbon materials. And then there's the big question, and this is a discussion to have, is renewable energy. And how can we incorporate certain elements of renewable energy into our existing building stock? Certainly in urban areas, we can look at new buildings that are being built that perhaps they can overgenerate renewable energy and release it to our historic buildings. But we do need to grasp this challenge and talk about it and see how we can best do it and not destroy the historic value of the asset. The SDGs, which were launched in 2016, Sustainable Development Goals, all 17 of them will have some sort of effect on most of our heritage and heritage buildings and how we use them. And it's very important that we also incorporate these in our future thinking and look at how do we develop policies to include our SDGs, and in particular for education, 7 affordable and sustainable energy for all, 13 climate change, 11 cities and urban areas, 11.4 cultural heritage, and 17 is to share that knowledge and to make it available to our general public. Finally, the coronavirus has highlighted the need to create healthy living and healthy buildings. So let's lead that charge by promoting adaptive reuse and healthy, sustainable solutions to our built heritage. Thank you.